Would have been fun.
All right, let's start with the Guardians. Before we get to Game 5, and there's a lot of decisions that have to be made ahead of Game 5. We've got to recap Game 4. I thought that it couldn't have worked out any better, not just because it was a win, but I thought Stephen Vogt was probably questioning some of his decision-making after some questionable moves for Game 3. I thought he would look nervous, but he rose to the occasion, and I thought pulled all the right levers. I talked about this after he didn't squeeze bunt in an earlier situation in the series where I thought it begged for it. And he pulled the trigger on this yesterday. I think what he did was the calculus of run value versus outs. You have 27 outs in a game. And typically, you have to figure out how hard are runs going to be to come by. And you have to do that calculus on the fly while the game is playing out. And he made the decision. This is a high-risk decision, but extremely high reward. He asked his guy, can you get a squeeze bunt down? Man, did David Fry deliver. It was a wonderful slide by Quan. Risky play, one that a lot of managers would not have had the cojones to make, but he made it. It worked out, and I think that's a great growing step for Stephen Vogt in playoff baseball.
You know, for me, you know, we talked about it before. You know, we talked about pitching all along. Adam the Bull, I've been concerned about the sticks. And you take a look at that game, Quan looks like he's back to Quan. He's getting on base. He's swinging at good pitches. And then it was a big relief for everybody in Cleveland when Jose Ramirez hits the home run. And now you're like, okay, our best players are playing at their best. Stephen Vogt, I don't know if he's second-guessing himself, but we sure as heck were from the first few games. So you're able to get those runs. You're able to win a game on the road. And now you set yourself up for an opportunity, Bull, of getting a chance to play an elimination game at home, in your ballpark, and now your best players are playing.
That's right. And we'll talk about the pitching matchup or what we think it'll be in Game 5 in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you talk about maybe the manager not being confident in himself. Well, I think a lot of the players weren't either. They had gone 20 consecutive innings without scoring, and Lane Thomas coming through after it looked like the Guardians might blow that opportunity in the first inning. They had first and second, nobody out, then 2 consecutive outs, and then Lane Thomas coming through. You see there, we got 2 hits yesterday, knocks in that run, and I think the whole team took a collective sigh of relief. Then Ramirez hits the home run, so now your best player hits the home run.
Could you guys see the monkey just disappear off the
Yes. That his previous at bat, it was like the most stressed I felt like I'd ever seen him in that at bat. And we know his history. He's had like 3 really good playoff series and then 5 just abysmal playoff series in his career. And overall, he's not been a great postseason player. But hitting that home run, it was his first hit since his first at bat in Game 1 where he got the double.
Which was originally ruled an error.
Right, and then changed to a double. But that was big. David Fry comes up with the home run. You mentioned the sac fly. After not scoring for 20 innings, they put up 5 in 9 innings last night. That was huge.
It was clutch. One thing that I noticed, Bull, I'm curious to your thoughts on this. I felt that Vogt's lineup in Detroit for Game 3 was a little questionable. To me, it looked like he was going to try to win it with home runs. And the reason I say that is because obviously, Big Christmas is a guy what is he? He's all or nothing.
That's right.
That's the wrong park to do that in. Comerica is a big
that
ballpark.
is not a hitter's ballpark, and it does not carry to certain parts. I mean, it's massive.
You're going to have to build runs. Here's what I loved about yesterday. They did get a couple long balls. They almost got a third from Will Brennan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call David Fry's a wall scraper, but it wasn't a colossal shot. Now, Hosey just sat on the right pitch and crushed it over 400 feet. But typically in a ballpark like that, you're going to have to build runs. Get them on, get them over, get them in. They did that in the first inning, which was pivotal to me, them jumping out on top first.
Yeah.
But the fact that they have one of their power bats in the lineup drop down a squeeze bunt tells me that he might have realized, okay, long balls are great, but you're not going to Yankee this series up. You're not going to do what the Yankees try to do.
No, but you do need to have the long ball in your arsenal.
And they had it.
And they didn't in 22, and that's why they got wiped out in the playoffs. They do now. They were a productive I think they finished 12th in home runs. I mean, we would have signed for that easy in the beginning of the season. And you have to have that, especially when you face great pitchers, and they are facing a great pitcher tomorrow. It is hard hard to build runs in the playoffs. It's even harder to build runs against Tarik Skubal. So I think it's going to take, I think you're going to need one long ball tomorrow. Yeah. And Progressive Field is a better home run park than Detroit by a lot.
At least if you get down, it doesn't feel like the game is completely over when you just got guys that are going to hit singles and try to earn their way on base.
I don't want to talk about being down against
down against Skubal, and
that's a problem.
Well, at least you got that option in your arsenal. If you're sitting at home watching, you at least can say to yourself, well, we can get a home run. That's in our back pocket.
We know what Skubal's going to bring to the table. We saw his numbers. By the way, I almost love the fact that he hasn't given up a run yet.
Right, he's due, right?
He's due.
Yeah.
It's just like last night when Brisky came in and they said, oh, he's been perfect for 10 1/3. I go, well, now is the time that's going to change.
Right.
Baseball, the larger the sample size, the more the regression to the mean. He's going to give up runs in Game 5. Maybe run, but he's going to get dinged in Game 5 for at least a run. To me, the question is how many outs you ask the Tigers bullpen to get. So if he goes 7, I think their chances of winning goes up. That means he's pitching very well. If you get him out after 5, I love our chances to win. The bigger question is, what is Stephen Vogt going to do for the Guardians starting pitcher for Game 5? You mentioned at the top he might go with a guy with no playoff experience.
Yeah, and that's Gavin Williams. I mean, Gavin Williams is the guy we were waiting for all year. He finally came back in late July. It's been a spotty season for him since coming back from injury. There have been times where he's looked really good. Unfortunately, there's been times where he's looked really bad. He's certainly a possibility, especially if the Guardians believe Kerry Carpenter cannot go, and then you're less worried about, because he's been their most productive hitter, and he had their biggest hit of the series. But on the other hand, Matthew Boyd is a veteran, and he missed a lot of the season like Alex Cobb, but he's pitched very well for the Guardians, and he pitched very well in Game 2. But then you say, okay, but they've seen him. They haven't seen Gavin Williams. So I think it's a tough call. In the end, you said this earlier in our YouTube show, and I agree. Whatever choice Vogt makes, I'm on board with it. I think there's not a bad choice between the two. But if it were up to me with the knowledge that I have, and obviously Stephen Vogt has more info than I do, if it were up to me right now, it's close, but I would go with Matthew Boyd.
Okay. Even back to Skubal a little bit, even if they don't get a massive amount of runs when it comes to Skubal, you said something in UCSS show. I want him to be pitching. I need him to be in the 30s, in the 40s. If you can get up there and extend these at-bats, and even if you can get 2 guys on and you don't get runs home, I would like to see guys work the count, because now, I guess this is Game 5 and they'll go as long as possible. But if they can't pitch them 120 pitches.
No,
they can't pitch them 120. So let's get to them. And if we don't get the runs, extend the at bats. Josh Naylor's been swinging at early pitches. I think Quan has done a better job at that. But if they can be disciplined, Roquel's done a good job of that. If they can be disciplined, make them throw pitches, you may be able to get to him in a 5th inning or a 6th inning if he's still around and available.
Yeah, get that pitch count elevated early. And not only is it to try to get him out of the game, in my view, this is just from my experience, when I start getting up into the 70s and 80s, I lose confidence in my stuff. I know I've lost a little on the fastball, maybe a little with my location because of fatigue. When you get tired, you know this from football, you fall out of your technique. You start opening up, you start doing things that are uncharacteristic. Get him into an uncomfortable situation. Yeah. I know the stage hasn't been too big for him yet, but this is not normal what he's doing. He's one of a very few and select group of pitchers that have opened their postseason career with 13 scoreless innings.
Right.
This is heady stuff he's doing.
Yeah.
At some point, it's going to start sinking into that psyche, and hopefully he'll prove that he's human.
And the Guardians have to take advantage, because you're not going to have a lot of, I mean, you never know, it's baseball, but most likely the Guardians will not have that many opportunities to score against him. So when they do, when they get runners on, they've got to get the big hit.
Yeah, I agree.
That's going to be the difference in this game. I know it's pretty obvious, but that's it. Yeah. Which team is going to get the big game? The Tigers have the pitching advantage to start the game, and the Guardians are going to have to match that. Whoever they start, Matthew Boyd, Gavin Williams, you're going to have the shortest leash ever, because last night at least, okay, you're facing Reese Olson. He might give up. Like, against Skubal, you can't afford to fall behind at all.
No,
one run's going to feel like a lot.
It will feel like a ton. One other thing that we should put on your radar, the game is currently scheduled to start at 8:08. originally I thought that was good because Skubal with the Game 2 shadows went from Cy Young to damn near unhittable.
Yeah.
We're not going to have to deal with the shadows. However, I need to at least throw this out there. The weather that's coming in Saturday is expected to get here mid-afternoon. And Major League Baseball does not want this game canceled Saturday and pushed into the Sunday NFL window.
Right.
That would greatly impact that rating. We're going to watch, and they're going to watch in Detroit.
Yeah.
But the rest of America is going to be preoccupied with the NFL.
Right.
So they're going to do everything and anything they can to get this game in, and that may mean moving start time up to 1 o'clock. So everybody make your plans for Saturday.
Yeah.
But also
Keep 'em
understand
loose.
that, yeah, now that would be great for a lot of Ohio sports fans because 7:30, Ohio State, ranked number 2, is at Eugene, Oregon to play the number 3 Ducks. And a lot of folks are going to have to either two-screen watch or make a decision. But maybe not if this game is moved up to 1 o'clock.
Selfishly, it'd be good for me because I'd rather do a post-game show at 4 o'clock than at 11 o'clock at night.
All right, you heard that, Park Avenue. Make the decision.
Let's go.
Let's get this thing into 1 o'clock.